Hello everybody, welcome to Wednesday Night Warrior, a semi-regular video blog about Magic the Gathering and about the constructive criticism family, basically. We're going to talk this week about GP Portland. We're going to take a break from our typical episodes where we've been talking about kind of how to improve at Magic. This week we're going to talk about the deck that I actually ended up playing at GP Portland. You can see it on, I believe, this side. And we'll talk about kind of the tournament and how everybody did. So going into the tournament, we did a lot of playtesting. People on all kinds of decks. Green-Black Delirium had tested very well. Different Distended Mindbender decks tested really well. The Andrew Brown Team Merge deck tested pretty good. And then aggro decks actually tested pretty decent as well. So going into the tournament, we had myself, West, and Casey Bloodworth on Band Company. We had Alex Sittner and Matt Kling on Green-Black Delirium. We had Austin on Blue-Red Spirits, and we had Michael Hinderrocker on either the Jund deck or the 4-color Emerge deck. So a lot of different strategies going into the tournament. Sorry, I'm not feeling well. Yeah, I get that hydration. A lot of testing went into it. Going into the tournament the day of, I had planned on actually playing Band Company. I did not sleep well before the tournament, and I haven't really been sleeping well the last 2 months. And because of that, I decided to switch decks. So I brought 3 decks with me. I brought Mono Red Aggro, kind of a brew, the Band Company deck that I brought, and basically all the cards to build any style of green-red deck I want, whether it was Classic Ramp, Reduke Ramp, the Japanese deck, anything that I wanted to build, I could basically build. And so what I ended up doing is in playtesting, the Reduke deck was bad against a few decks. It was bad against the Fevered Visions Pyro deck. It was bad against the Band Company deck, and it was soft to Distended Mindbender decks. And in my opinion, I didn't want to be weak to those decks, so that's why I almost played Bad Company. And going into the GP, we had the results from the other GP overseas, and what the metagame looked like over there before our tournament even started. So sitting down at breakfast, I thought, man, if there's going to be this much Pyro and this much Bant, and I'm this tired, I don't want to be on Bant or Reduke's green-red deck. So I sleeved up the deck that I ended up playing, which is this. And the reason that I like this over Reduke's deck against that metagame is for a few reasons. Chandra is huge game against the Bant Company decks, and Jaddi Offshoot is something that you really need against that Pyro deck if you're going to beat it, as well as maxing out on things like, as having main deck Ulamogs, and maxing out on things like Worldbreaker. It's a huge benefit to be able to ramp out, hit a Worldbreaker that they have trouble killing, and get rid of that Fevered Visions. Because honestly, the Fevered Visions is what's going to kill you at the end of the day. Being as tired as I was and things like that, let's go over the deck list and kind of talk about how everybody did, and we'll also talk about how I did. So we have 1 Hedron Archive, we have 4 Deathcap Cultivators, we have 3 Dragonlord Atarkas, we have 1 Emrakul, we have 1 Hedron Crawler, 2 Nissa Vastwood Seers, 1 Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, 4 Worldbreakers, we have 3 Oath of Nissa, we have 4 Cinder Glade, 3 Evolving Wilds, 8 Forests, 2 Mountains, 4 Sanctum of Ugin, 4 Shrine of the Forsaken Gods, 3 Chandras, 4 Explosive Vegetation, 4 Incendiary Flow, we'll obviously talk about that, and 4 Nissa's Pilgrimage. Overall, pretty happy. One of the last changes that was made to the deck is the inclusion of Hedron Crawler. I tried a lot of different things, whether it was a 3-2 split between having 3 Incendiary Flows, 2 Roasts, having 4 Incendiary Flows, and 1 Sylvan Advocate. Lots of different things were tried. And at the end of the day, what I was really looking for is just enough bridge spells. So I wanted enough things to get me to the point where I could play Worldbreaker, start chaining them, maybe chain an Emrakul or an Ulamog, things like that, and just win matches of Magic that way. So overall, I'm really happy with the deck list, actually. The only real change I would make is actually in the sideboard. So the sideboard is 1 Conduit of Ruin, 1 Greenwarden of Murasa, 3 Jaddi Offshoot, 2 Tireless Tracker, 3 Kozilek's Return, 3 Rending Volley, and 2 Roasts. And the main change that I would make, the thing that I would look at and say this is the thing that I want to change, is actually the Greenwarden of Murasa. I wish that I was playing 2 Conduit of Ruin at the tournament. I have a real package between Emrakul, Ulamog, and Worldbreaker to get what I want when I want it in the matchups that I want it. And I didn't, and there were not very many matchups at all anymore where I would side out Ulamog and Worldbreaker, whereas there used to be a lot of them. So, or sorry, not Worldbreaker. You never side out Worldbreaker. There used to be a lot of matchups where you would side out Ulamog, and I think the matchups have either changed, such as Bant Company. But you would also side, but the things that you're mainly siding out are different decks. You side out Deathcap Cultivator and Hedron Crawler and Nissa if you're expecting a lot of Dromoka's commands, and you board into your red spells, basically, your removal spells, and become a green-red control deck. Or there are some matchups where you'll board out Hedron Archive and then Ulamog and Emrakul and go a little bit lower to the ground and things like that. And one of the main things that I love about this deck is how comfortable I am sideboarding. And the reason that I played the deck is because I was so tired and I really needed a deck that I could play with the mindset that I was in the mental capacity that I had at the time. And Ramp was a great choice for that. I started out 6-1 with no buys, and then did a 6-3, which sucked. Lost to Mark Jacobson and another player that I don't remember what they were playing. Against Mark Jacobson, I unfortunately mulliganed a lot. I actually mulliganed a lot in the tournament, but I think that that's okay with this deck. I think that you're okay taking a lot of mulligans in this deck and really building your deck correctly. I think that it lends itself to the fact that you have Nissa Pilgrimage, Explosive Vegetation draws that can win on mulligans to even 5. Once you get below 5, I think that, like most decks, you don't really have a chance to win. In fact, I did keep 2 hands in this tournament that had 0 lands. One of them had a Deathcap Cultivator and a Nissa and a explosive or a Nissa's Pilgrimage. I actually won that game, and one of them has a Nissa's Pilgrimage hand that I lost with. But I think that in those games, I was better off getting lucky and drawing land than I was mulliganing to 4 and having to have 2 things happen for me, having to draw a mixture. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the deck's performance. I ended the tournament X and 5 for 1 pro point, losing my last match to a former Pokemon TCG Pro player. Overall, I really enjoyed the tournament. I really enjoyed the deck. I know that Alex Sittner, he also enjoyed the tournament, losing a double win in for top 8. Actually, funny story, I actually had the same number of match wins that people who went X and 3 had, right, because they had no buys. And that means that, like, obviously my opponents would have been different, but it feels really good to know that, like, I had the same number of match wins as some very good players out there, and with the limited capability that I had going into that tournament with where my head was at because of sleep. But I had a lot of fun. I really think that there are a lot of sweet decks in this format. I think that Bant Company is about to go through a major shift. I know that a lot of people are, like, trying it without Dromoka's commands. They're trying, Tamio's main. I think that deck has a lot of places that it can go. And I think that decks like the Jund deck are in a place where they can really thrive in this environment and really take advantage of those Emrakul decks and really punish them. So there's a lot of things going on that are really exciting. And I don't think that Bant Company is going anywhere, and I don't think that Thermo's going anywhere. And I think that there are many, many ways that the standard format could evolve into. And I'm excited to see that with the Invitational. The trip was pretty good. We had 4 of the 7 people that came day 2'd. Shout out to Wes Singleton, who got his first day 2 with Bant Company, finishing day 1 at X and 2. Matt Kling got his second day 2, trying to go get that pro point or 2 to catch up to Michael Hinderacher. and Alex Sittner obviously lost double win-ins for top 8, and I lost my last match for some money. But it was fun, and Cascade Games always runs a great event. If you're looking for a deck that's good against the Reed Duke deck, the Owen Turtenwald deck, Bent Company, if you're looking for something like that, I really would recommend trying out this ramp deck. It does a lot of the things that the Reed Duke deck does, but I think that it has more game in a lot of different matchups. And overall, I enjoyed the deck. I'm 1 point closer to Quentin Pierce in pro points, and hopefully, if I get the chance, I can go to some more GPs and catch up to that guy, and maybe pull ahead one day. But overall, I really liked the deck. If you have any questions about the deck, leave a comment. I'd be happy to respond. If you haven't gone to the Screen Door in Portland, I want to give them a shout out. They're an amazing place to eat food, and fried chicken will change your life. The trip was really fun. I think that even though Michael Hinderocker had a rough day one, I think that he picked the right deck. I think that Casey also had a very good build of Bant Company that West did very well with, and hopefully, we can go to more GPs like this through the Patreon and get more exposure out there, and hopefully instead of starting out 6-1 and bombing out, next time I can be a little more awake and possibly make my way into the top 16, maybe top 8, one of these things one day. But I really appreciate all the fans who came out and said hello. It's actually one of the reasons I want to make this video, is there were so many of you who came up to me and talked about how much you love the cast and love supporting the content that we make, and it means a lot to me. I really wouldn't have been there without you guys. Like the Patreon literally paid for my trip, and it was so much fun, and I really do appreciate everything that you, as the viewers and listeners, do for us. I know that you guys say that you get a lot out of what we do, but we wouldn't be here doing any of these videos or podcasts without you guys. So overall, you should try this ramp deck because it's pretty sweet. And watch out for those gen decks and stuff of that nature. I'm excited to see what the Star City Games Invitational brings, and seeing what kind of innovations people will bring to that, as it will qualify people both for the Pro Tour and the Star City Games player of the championship. So thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys all next time.